Hi everybody, it's Dina from the Creativity Cave, and I have a super awesome project to show you, as usual, of course. This project is super easy, and you probably have all of the stuff that you need to make it in your stamp room right now, with the exception of maybe one thing. And the project is super easy. It's something I saw on Pinterest last week, and I think it's actually kind of an old tutorial, but let me show you how it works. So we're going to make this card. You can see it's really sparkly and happy, shiny, good. So let me show you how I got this beautiful watercolor look. So the way it worked on the tutorial I saw was that you take some markers, and I just have 4 markers here that are kind of sort of color coordinated. I've got Tangerine Tango, Melon Mambo, Rich Razzleberry, and Real Red. And I'm going to take and just color these colors right on my watercolor paper. So this is watercolor paper that we have in the catalog. It is specifically designed for watercoloring, and it's a little heavier than our regular cardstock. I tried this on our regular cardstock and was not happy at all with the results, so I think the watercolor paper is kind of important. And part of that reason is because water-soluble colors will blend really well on watercolor paper. So you can see I'm just scribbling, not being particularly careful about where I'm putting the color. Okay, and while that's lovely, we want to make it look not so scribbly. And here is where I'm going to bring in an undefined, unused piece of rubber. So we have Stampin' Up's Undefined kit, which is for carving stamps, but rather than carve anything, I'm just going to use this as a solid piece of rubber. I mounted it onto some cling foam. It comes with sticky back so that you could stick it on a wood block, but I didn't want to do that because I wanted to use my clear block. So that's how I have it mounted. And then I'm just going to use the Stampin' Up spritzer. These come in a package of 2, and a lot of times the way I use these is put some re-inker drops in here with rubbing alcohol, and then I spritz it on my project. The reason I use the rubbing alcohol is because it dries quickly. But in this case, we want to use water, so that's all I have in here is regular old water. And I'm going to take my piece of undefined rubber. I'm going to set this aside while I spritz, and I'm just going to spritz right on here. And I'm not being super even, and I don't know if you can really see how much I've got on there, but then I'll bring this back in and I will take and just stamp this right over the top of what I scribbled in my marker. I'm going to press evenly all over, and then I'll lift it up, and you can see I have kind of a design that's spreading out. I still have some left on my paper here. Now I'm going to take and spritz this just a touch more, and then the colors kind of run a little bit more, which is nice. There we go. And the cool part about this is every time you do it, you get a little bit of a different look. Now I have this drip here that I don't really want, so I'm just going to kind of blot that off with my paper. Okay, so that's really pretty. Now I'm going to set this aside and let it dry, but I'm going to bring in one that I did earlier that is all dry now, and it's the same thing. I use the same colors, but you can see it looks just a little different. Now to finish this off, well actually let me show you one more thing. Now there's still some ink left on my rubber, and of course we shouldn't waste that because, I mean, that's why we're crafters, right? So I'll grab, this is just a scratch piece. I'm going to spritz this just a little more to kind of re-moisten it, because moist is such a good word to use, right? Okay. And then I have another design on here. It's a lot lighter, but it sure is pretty, so I could use this for something else. So I'll again set that aside to dry. and I'll come back to the one I that's already dry. Now, here's my card again, so let me show you what I did to jazz this up. I took some gold glimmer paper, and I cut out the hello. This is from the Crazy About You bundle, and that has some framelits and some coordinating stamps. So hello is one, there's thanks and you and happy. So I'm going to take and adhere this. Now, normally, especially if I was thinking a little bit further ahead, I would have put this on our adhesive backing before I cut it out, but I forgot to do that. So I'm just going to add some glue, and I'm not putting this like every single place. I'm just putting it on some of the spots, kind of like the top and bottom of each of the letter. And then I will position this on here as I like it, and then just set it down, and that will stay nice. And if I need something to hold it, I could just set that on top, and that'll put nice pressure on there. On my card, I have the little embellishments that I added, one of which is, I have this all cut out here. This is the little banner punch that I used for the flag here. And I've got my black cardstock for my backing. So let me show you how I did this. First, I'm going to adhere this to my card. And since I have my glue out, I'll just use that. You can also use fast fuse, which works great. So I will attach that to my piece of paper, and then I just realized that my I cut this the wrong size, so it's not quite the right size, but I'll just show you the rest of the card before I trim that down. So I'm going to put my little piece on here, and I want to staple it. We have this new mini stapler that was in the holiday catalog, and it's also in the spring occasions catalog. Then I'm going to take a length of my gold baker's twine, and I'm just going to set that kind of halfway on, halfway off, and then I'm going to staple the baker's twine, the little banner punch, and it'll all be attached to my card like so, and then I will tie a knot. So there, that's on there. And then I'll go ahead and tie a little bow. I said knot before, but I meant bow. You can tie a knot if you can't tie bows. I know some people are bow impaired, and I understand. It's a real affliction. Here we go. I'll make that just a little smaller. And there it is. Then I would take and add that to my crisp cantaloupe, or no, I'm sorry, this is Calypso Coral card. And now once I trim this off, it'll really look good, but basically here it is. Now you can see I also added a few bling sequins. So that's nothing more than taking my sequin trim in the gold. We also have it in Bermuda Bay. Pulling off a few of these, you can see they slide right off, and then attaching them with glue dots to my card. Excuse me. So here's the final product again, and I hope you like it. Let me show you a couple other things that I've done too, because they're pretty cool, if I can just say. Here I took some of my chevron. You might recall I did a video where I cut up my chevron background stamp, and so I colored the markers right on the rubber, and then I spritzed it and stamped it down. Actually, I think I spritzed my paper and then stamped it onto that. And then you can see I just added some sequin trim, and I punched out a little flower to match, and that was from here. It was just a piece that I had colored and then spritzed, just like I showed you in my card here. So it's just another embellishment that coordinates. And as long as we're talking about coloring on the rubber, I did it with this stamp. This is from the flower potpourri flower, something like that, where I did it right on the stamp, and then I punched it out and added it to my card. Here's another one I made, just a nice background. You can see I added the word with the glimmer paper, and then the stars are also with the glimmer paper. And then here's a couple more cards, also just different colors, same idea. And then last but not least, let me show you these few. So this one, I colored right on the cardstock just like before, and this is basically the size of my block. And then, I spritzed the block, colored, and did it. The second printing is this much lighter one, but isn't this pretty? It's a lot lighter, but you can see it's the same color, kind of in reverse here. And I thought that was really cool. And I added a vellum butterfly and a glimmer paper butterfly under there. So these are all just fun cards, and I think the possibilities are endless. I hope you give this a try and enjoy. Thanks for stopping by. If you would like to purchase any of the items I used on today's cards, I will have all the supplies listed on the post that is dated February 16th today. So take a look, and the links are always there. As always, we certainly appreciate your orders, and we're so thankful that you stopped by to visit. Have a great day and happy stamping.